The Great River PWM-501 uses pulse width modulation technology for gain reduction, basically turning on and off super fast to accomplish this. Only 3 other compressors I know of use the same technology. The Cranesung STC-8, the Pi compressor like the one in the famous Helios console at Olympic Studios in London, and now the PWM-501. Here's an example of the 501 on a mono drum room mic. This is a drum mono room mic. It's a vintage U87 going through a Neve 1081 mic pre into the compressor. I'm going to play it for you what it sounds like bypassed first. Okay, now we're going to engage it at a 2-to-1 ratio. So that's with a 2-to-1 ratio. And the high pass filter is off presently. Now, for more low end, if we want to have the compressor not trigger as much with the kick drum, for example, we're going to adjust the high pass filter on it so you can hear what that sounds at 2-to-1. Now, one of the interesting features on the compressor is the feed-forward feedback control. You can use this basically as a tone shaping knob. Now we're going to have Ian play the same beat, and we're going to turn that control and see what it does here. Ian? You'll find these controls on some of the old API compressors. You can really shape the sound with this. So now we're going to increase the gain reduction on it and show what it does at higher ratios. So this is a 4.5-to-1 ratio. We're getting a lot of gain reduction on the on some of these really loud hits. Now we're going to up it a little bit more. We're going to go to 5-to-1 here. It's really starting to kick in. This is a very versatile compressor. It's one of the best sounding 500 series compressors that I've heard. Now we're going to go for some really hard limiting. We're going to go up to 10-to-1. You can hear it really clamping down on the snare. So let's back off the threshold a little bit. And then we're going to play with the feed-forward feedback control and see what that does. Hi, I'm Rick Beato. I'm a producer in Atlanta, Georgia here. I got the PWM-501 a few weeks ago, and I'm really loving it. It's great, versatile compressor, and I use it on everything. We just did a demonstration of it on a mono drum room mic, and now we're going to try it out on a bass guitar. Take a listen. Okay, here's the PWM-501 on a bass guitar. we'll start it at a 4-to-1 ratio. Now, you can hear it really clamping down on some of the notes I'm playing. I'm kind of playing them hard on purpose so you can really hear the compressor engaging. Now, as I'm listening to this, I'm saying, okay, these are kind of dead strings on this jazz bass here. So I'm going to use the Great River 32 EQ, parametric EQ, to brighten it up a bit. So here I'm going to kick it in and put on about 1.5 to 2K to brighten up the tone. There we go. Let's hear what it sounds like without it. Very, very muted. Now with it back engaged. There we go. So we have our attack back now. Okay, so I like to use these two in conjunction, the compressor and the EQ. Let me show you a couple features on the EQ. It's based off the Harrison console EQ. And this has absolutely the best filter, high and low pass filter of any EQ I've used. So let's show you what the high pass and low pass filters do. So I'll just play a low bass note here. We'll engage the filter. You can hear the low end going away. So the note is virtually gone. We'll bring it back in slowly as you hear the low end returning. That's the high pass filter. So it's post compressor. Now let's do the low pass filter. We'll start taking out some high end. You'll start hearing that pick attack. Now, if I want to use both in conjunction with each other, you can really make a lo-fi sound where if you take a bunch of the low end out and a bunch of the high end out, you can get some really cool lo-fi effects. Very aggressive, great sounding filters.
I dust off my halo. I feel the beat beneath my feet, and I hear the echo. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, I speak to those with the unclean hands, the radiant souls that the world has damned. The untold story of the misjudged man says it ain't too late to live the next day's plan. I lift my head, just like you said. I dust off my halo. I feel the beat beneath my feet, and I hear the echo. Oh, 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 oh. I lift my head, just like you said. I dust off my halo. I feel the beat beneath my feet, and I hear the echo. Oh, I speak to those with the unclean hands, the radiant souls that the world has damned. The untold story of the misjudged man says it ain't too late to live the next day's plan. I lift my head, just like you said. I dust off my halo. I feel the beat beneath my feet, and I hear the echo. Whoa.
Okay, I'm going to show you the Harrison EQ, how to use the Q buttons and how to use it for EQing this acoustic guitar. Okay, so I'm going to, the EQ's engaged now, and I'm going to take and I'm going to add a little bit of high mids in here. As you can hear it, brightening up probably 2.5K or so. Here's out and in. Okay, now take, maybe add some mid-range to it. There it is. It seems like it was a good sound to start with, but made it a lot more present here. I'm adding about 850 hertz. I'm adding a little bit over probably 2.5K or so into it. Now, if I want to add a little bit of extra sparkle on the top end, can do that. I'm engaging the high Q there to tighten it up a little bit. Here it is with the EQ bypassed. Kind of actually sounds lifeless. I thought it sounded good at first. You got much better mids on it now and cut through the mix a lot better. The PWM-501 and the Harrison 32 EQ have been a great addition to our studio. The EQ we use on everything. We'll use it on guitars, on drums, on bass. You can get really, really creative sounds, carving the guitars to fit in the mix, or if you need a little more attack on your bass guitar, or you want a room mic that has a lot of sizzle to it. They're really natural sounding, and the filters are the best sounding filters on any EQ I've used. This is Rick Beato for Great River.